All right, so this week we're gonna talk about cameras. So I'm gonna create a small scene with a basic layout and a character, and I'm gonna add about three cameras to the scene, and I'll show you how to export that to Unreal. Cool. So I'll start by opening our Ninja. By the way, I moved all the stuff to D because I was getting some errors in C. C is getting full, so we'll talk about that next week. I think you guys should work from D just in case you're C, because they didn't clean all the PCs yet, so it's, they might clean it and you might. Anyways, work from D is better. Unreal, sorry, Maya assets, characters, Ninja. Don't save. So is the textures okay? Yeah, good. Just make sure we're in setting. We're in centimeters. That's okay. We'll keep it Y up. It doesn't matter. So I'll create a small platform, or ground, I should say. I'll scale this to, let's say, rotate it. Doesn't really matter. Make it a little bit bigger. And I'll make sure that it's flat on the ground so it doesn't go through his feet. Right, so this is the 0, 0 grid. Just make sure it's flat. And I will create a couple of columns in here just to get, because I'm gonna be showing you some depth of field, and it would be nice to get some objects in the scene for reference, okay, in Unreal. So I'm gonna create a couple of say 30, just some really basic layout. And I'll scale it up. Okay, so I'll just type it in, maybe like 3 meters. All right. And I'll just move that here. I'll put, actually, before I duplicate it, I'm just going to assign a couple of small materials. So I'll save this scene first. Always in the animes folder. So I'll call it, I believe we're in week 6. Let me double check. My memory is not what it is. Just open up the course outline to double check. Yeah, we're week 6. Put my name and let's see, cameras, just to remember. Okay, so let's assign a couple of quick shaders. shaders that go in Unreal, the best ones are blend. So where's my create material, blend. So this is the best one that transfers to Unreal, the best. Takes all the settings. So I'll select my ground and I'll assign it to this, assign material to viewport selection, and I'll create a new one. The name doesn't really matter, it's just a test. So I'll color this one, let's say blue, just to give it a little bit different. Okay. Now we can duplicate it, Control D. Right. Something like that. One more. And that's good. So this way, when we go in Unreal, we can use those to see depth of field. We can see the background blurring, kind of. Okay. So I'll group these so we can have one node, and then we can export that afterwards. Okay. I'll just create a small layer. Let's call this Ninja Mesh. Let's be more specific. And this one. Environment groups. You can freeze that. Thank you. Save. And then what we can start doing is I'll be setting up cameras and animations at the same time. It's a little easier to do it this way because you can kind of tweak the cameras and the animations at the same time. So I'll start by pasted character. What the hell is this? Okay. Looks like I have two characters in there. I don't know why. I might just delete it. Edit. That's weird. That's strange. I only have one in the outline. Anyways, it doesn't matter. So I'm going to switch this to none, and I'm just going to build a small sequence from Mixamo. Okay, so I'm going to download, let's say he does a greeting at the end. Let's say it's he's doing like a cartwheel, and he's presenting himself in the beginning, does the cartwheel, and then bows at the end. So something simple just to show the cameras. Okay. So let's see what that looks like. Yeah, it's not bad. Shaking hands, no. Quick formal bow. That could be maybe at the end or the beginning. Nope. This one's not bad. Okay, so maybe this one and this one kind of start and end. So we'll download this without skin. And then the end one would be this. Something like that. And we'll need the cartwheel, right? Something in the middle. I think this one is probably the best one. That's nice because we can probably loop it. So let's take this. Minimize. Let's go to the download folder and move those. Actually, sorry. I'll just cut them. Mix ammo in here. Let's just put that here. And then we can do a quick time editor. So maybe like he starts here, he does 2 cartwheels, and he finishes here. Okay, so let's do that. So add the character, and then actually one quick thing. So it's better if you animate at 24. I'll show you the difference in Unreal. For the final film, but for today it's fine. We can keep it at 30. But I want to show you the difference when we switch to in Unreal, when we render at 30 FPS versus a 24 FPS. There's a slight difference in motion blur. Motion blur is better at 24, and that's what film uses. Film, they use 24 FPS all the time. So we'll keep in Maya right now. We'll keep working at 30. But eventually, when you start building your film, you should switch to 24. Okay. I just want to see. Okay, frame rate 30 FPS. All right. So we'll start with the greeting. We'll drag this in. There's a clip here. Okay, just delete this. So I'd like to give it a little bit time, because what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna probably like pan down, so I'll give it a little bit time. Maybe it's 50 frames is good, and this way I can pan down and look at the guy waving, and then he does his cartwheel. All right. Okay, so next we bring in the cartwheel. Let's see what that looks like. So it kind of lines up perfectly, but what we need to move him in space. I want him to start over here, let's say. Okay, so let's create a locator. Create locator, and just move this clip all the way up here, and should be good. And then we move when I'm gonna turn ghosting on to see the end clip, right? So I can move this one as well. Create locator. I'm just gonna move this guy to match the last frame. Right? Okay. He's kind of slanted, so I can just do a little correction, or I can maybe just get it over a little bit. That's good. So I can easily create another one. So let's copy paste this clip. Just move it up. Create another locator. Can turn ghosting on with this one. So create locator. And just move him to kind of match. We don't have to worry about the feet because the plane is pretty stable. And the mocap, the mocap is right on the feet. It's flat. Still moving to the right a little bit. I'm just trying to match it better. It's getting better. All right. Okay, so we can kind of blend over a little bit. Maybe we don't want him to hold too much. We want him to, oops. As soon as he's done, create another one. There we go. And then at the end, we can put the formal bow. Okay. So snap, turn on ghost, and then create locator, and then move this guy here. It's not bad. We could just, as soon as he lands or finishes the turn, we can just start blending into this, right? There we go. Okay, so we have the animation for 15. So let's say 450 for now. We might add a little bit of camera motion at the end to finish the scene. Okay. So let's check the animation. Save. Just press play. Pan down. Wave. Cartwheel 1, cartwheel 2, and then bow. Good? Alright. So now we're ready to add cameras. Okay, we can minimize this a little. I hope it doesn't complain too much about the time error, but we'll see. So cameras, you go in rendering, and you create a camera. Okay, it's very small, so if you go in channel box and locator scale, let's say you put 20 might be better, and you can we can see the camera. I like to work when there's cameras. I like to work with 2 viewports. Right now we only have 1, so what I like to do is put 2. So one will be my perspective, so I can move the camera, and the other one will be my camera view. So if I go here, perspective, camera, I can see what the camera is looking at. So that's the first step. The second step is we set up the camera lens. So we need to go select the camera, go in attribute editor, and right now the FOV, the length is 35 millimeter. If you go in here, film back, it says by user, so I would just switch it to, I think 35 Academy. That's the one matching in Unreal, I believe. Just let me double check. This is the scene we had on week 4. Okay, I'm just gonna dock it here. Select the camera, and we'll just film back. Yeah, it's the same one. Is there another one? No, film. 16:9 film. So choose this one in Maya. It doesn't really change anything, but it's better to make sure that you're using 35 Academy. Because the focal length, see, it's 35, and if you look in Unreal, it's 35 too. Okay? So that's the one we're gonna work with. For now. So if you, for later, you have trouble with some of the environment is clipping, I don't know if I can see it here. Let me try to simulate it. No. So you can kind of, not really. So if you get something like this, the camera is not seeing the environment anymore, like the environment disappears, it's probably your near and far plane. We don't have this problem because it's a small scene. Actually, let me see if I can simulate it. Actually, I'm just going to bring these down to 100. Okay, see? When I put the far plane, each camera has a near and far plane. Near is what it's looking at its nearest, and far is what's looking at the furthest. So if I increase this, see, it gets back. So let's say I put 555. I'm not sure what number it will give me. Anyways, you get the idea. If you're having trouble with these, let's see, it doesn't do it. Just play around with oops. What did I do? Did I? Oh, I just grouped it. Okay. I don't know. I pressed the shortcut and it created something. It's a cylinder. Okay, I can just delete it. So near and far plane if you're having trouble with the environment. And I think that's it. And the attribute, there's nothing else we need to look at. I'll just put this back to 10,000 so we don't get into more trouble. Okay, the other thing in the camera view, so this is your camera view, this is your perspective, is we need to turn on we call it film gate. So it's actually, yeah, this one. Not sure what the gate mix is, resolution gate. Not sure what these are. If you turn on film gate, you will see a weird resolution. This is why, because the rendering hasn't been set up yet. So we need to go in Windows, rendering editors, render settings, and then go down to resolution, presets, image size, presets, and switch that to HD 180. Okay. I believe this is when you need this one, resolution gate. So what resolution will give you the 1080, sorry, the 1920 by 1080 resolution. It shows you exactly what it's going to render, okay? So if I move the camera, see, everything in the gray zone is not going to be rendered. It's only rendering inside this box. Oops. So use this one, sorry, not film gate, apologize, resolution gate, okay? Okay, so now that we have camera, so I highly suggest start naming your cameras, like shot 1, shot 2, shot 3. But for now, it's okay, you can keep, sorry. All right, so yeah, name your cameras to match your shots. Highly recommended, because depending how many cameras, how many shots you have, it's gonna get a little bit messy. All right, so I'm gonna create 2 more cameras since we set the setting for this one already, like using the good focal length. I can just duplicate it twice. And now I can start animating basically the first shot. So the first shot, I'm gonna go to the first frame 0, and I'm just gonna pan down, let's say from the sky to show our ninja. Okay, I can set it a little bit here. Something interesting. Yeah, maybe I'll choose the other side, the right side, to show the column. Okay. Yeah, we can show them like this. Maybe a little bit. Yeah, that's good. So if I scrub, yeah, it's not bad. Just to give him a little bit better silhouette. Maybe we can, could be a far shot too, you know. Maybe I'll do a far shot, medium shot, and a close-up at the end. So we focus on, so this could be the long shot. All right. Actually, during the action, we want the long shot. So let's go medium. Medium first, because he's doing some traveling, right? Let's go medium here. Let's move this. can move the environment too, but it's okay for now. Let's just go with this. So again, be careful with what you see inside, right? I have to go really far. It's okay. Keep it on the side. Even though you don't see the salute that much, but it's fine. Okay, so we kind of like, I'll put a key here maybe. And then go to the first frame and just maybe pan up a little bit. And then rotate. Oops. Rotate the camera a little bit like this. Let's see what that looks like. Oh, if you're scrubbing and you don't see only one viewport updates, I found a little trick in the settings. I believe it's here. So update view, in time slider update view, just press all instead of active. Okay, so now when you scrub, you will see both playing. There's a little salute, and then let's say we choose the other camera. I'll snap it to the same location as this camera for now. If you press and hold V, oops, select move first, press and hold V, and just snap it to here. Not sure it works the same with rotation, but let's try. No, it doesn't work. So we cannot snap rotation, snap to rotation. Okay, so now I need to see what that camera is looking at, so we can switch to camera 2 and rotate in world. So we kind of start looking at his awesome. So we can go long shot with this one. It's fine. Can start here. Let's put a key here at 205, and then we start moving with him. So let's say we move all the way to the end. So insert something like that, and then at the end we're switching to the third camera. Camera 3. I'm going to do something nice with this one. So in Maya there's something called orbit cam. Okay, I'll show you how to deal with that. Something nice angle. So we can go a close-up with this one. Okay. So what is an orbit cam? Okay. If you click on attributes again, in here, controls, if you drop down the menu and choose camera and aim, you will get a little target on the cam. Okay, it should be right there. It's actually, you can select it here too, and the outliner. So it creates a little target. So then what you could do with this target, you can animate it, see? And the camera rotation is, the camera is aiming at that target. So if you want to do like a turn around the character hero moment kind of, that's how you do it very easily. Instead of trying to keyframe the camera doing a perfect circle, you can easily do that with this, okay? So I'm gonna place my target on the character, obviously, and I'm gonna do a little sorry, a little quick animation of maybe doing a turn on him once he's done the roll. So maybe around here we could do a little rotation with a close-up. Okay. I don't want to cut off the head too much, so let's bring it down. Alright. So by the way, you can keyframe both the target and the camera. Okay. So I'll put a key here, and maybe like turn around this side just to show. Okay. So what does that look like? Nice, not bad. Okay, so now you tell me we have all these cameras, but we don't see the whole sequence. So this is where I'll save the scene. This is where the camera sequencer comes in. So if you go in Window, Animation, Camera Sequencer, we can dock this, I believe. Yeah. How come it docked this way? Oh, okay, perfect. It's okay. Yeah, no, that's not what I want. Let's see if it docks better. Okay, yeah, that works better. Okay, so now what is the camera sequencer? So camera sequencer is basically, it combines all the cameras in your scene and plays them back to back. You can adjust the timing a little bit. You can, like, let's say cut a little bit early and cut a little bit later, but you cannot scale the shots. Okay, you will have to stick to the same timing. So in able to see, you're gonna need to create first a track, which is called the shot in the sequencer. Okay, so I believe it's this one, create shot. And we need to assign a camera to this shot. Okay, then we could start with camera 1. So the active viewport that you have selected automatically, as soon as you assign a camera to a shot, it will start displaying what's on that, what's in the camera sequencer. Okay, so now if I scrub, see, I see the first camera. Okay, and for some odd reason, it adds the camera sequencer adds 1 frame. So if your animation starts from 0, it actually, the camera sequence starts from 1. So all you need to do is just drag the blue guy. The blue track on top is like a group for all the shots. Okay, so This is our first camera. I believe we keyframed. By the way, even if your camera is a still shot, like it's not moving, you need to key it. Otherwise, when you create the Uber cam, it will not bake if there's no keyframe on one of these cameras, okay? So just make sure, even though it's a still shot, you need to press, just create one key on it, okay? Okay, so our first camera was up to, where was it? So let's say up to 195. So what we can do is we can just trim that down to 195, right? So you see, this is important. If you by mistake you scale the bottom one, this is bad. So don't use this one, use the top one, which is you're kind of trimming your shot. You're telling it, okay, start from 0 to 195 only. If you do by mistake here, you scale this one and you see percentage increase than 100%, just undo and redo it by selecting the top one. I'll add another shot now for camera 2. And we can select camera 2. See, now it switches to camera 2. You see the switch here, camera 2. And where did we go up to with camera 2? Up to, let's say 328. It doesn't really matter. So we'll just grab this. Oops. 328. Okay. And then I think if you have the camera 3 selected and you click add shot, create shot. No, it doesn't. I thought it created the wishful thinking. Camera 3. So now oh wait, what did I do? Oh, okay. So we need, it's playing the camera 1, and then, oh, I see. Okay, so we need to start this at 195. That's the problem. So I cannot, it's playing from 0 again because that's what by default it starts from the first frame. So we just need to drag this to 195 and put it here. And then this one, instead of 0, put it to 328. You can also type it in, I believe. Yeah, you can type it in. So now, there we go. Nice. So we have our medium shot, kind of, our long shot, and so here you can, if you want to, let's say, stay more on this shot, you could just scale it a little bit and then bring it in, right? You can stay a little bit on the idle, and then the bow and turn will happen a little bit later. So, okay. So tweak it as you like. You can, I believe you can undo. No, you can't undo. Okay, nice, thank you. Anyways, it really helps you see all the shots together. That's the whole point of it. So we ended up with 475. Let's just play it to see what it looks like. All right. It's not bad. Yeah. Let's stick with that. Let me see the time. We're good. Yeah, okay, we're good. So now we have our 3 shots. We can create what they call in Maya an Uber shot. That's what camera sequencer gives you at the end. So if you go create, actually before you do, you need to select the 3 cams, or the 3 shots, I should say. Shot camera 1, shot camera 2, shot camera 3. Make sure there's, again, like I said, if you scale them by mistake and they're not 100% here, make sure you fix your mistake, because if they're not, it's going to give you an error. So if it gives you an error, just check the 100% and fix it. In create, instead of creating a shot, we're going to create an Uber cam. Okay, so now we have our Uber cam, and is it okay? So now we can switch the perspective to the Uber cam. Oh, that's weird. It switched. It did something weird. Okay, never mind. Let's see what the Uber cam looks like. Actually, we can close this. We don't need this anymore, because now, oh, it switched. What the hell? Weird. Oh, it changed my timeline. Okay, that's weird. I think there's some bugs with it, for sure. Okay. So that's what we said before, right? Uber cam, yeah. Oh boy. Okay, so perfect. That's the perfect mistake. Okay, so I did this on Sunday as I was doing it. So what's happening here? The camera orbit with the camera with the aim doesn't have rotation. That's why it just goes on a straight line, because enable to the Uber cam to take the camera 3 needs to have position and rotation values. So we need to bake the camera 3, bake it in translation rotation, and then create the Uber cam. So I'm just going to delete it for now, and I'm going to select the camera 3, and it's actually from 353 to 410, 353 to 410. So select the camera 3, go in key, bake options, selected, and time slider. We don't want to bake the whole thing. We just want to bake from 353 to 410, 412, let's say, and bake. So now this camera has position and rotation values. We can double check in the curve editor, graph editor. So we have position and we have rotation values, okay? So now we can go back to the sequencer. Now we create another Uber cam. Let's take a look at what it looks like. Looks promising. There we go. Perfect. So now we're ready to export. Create this scene in Unreal. Okay. So first up, let me clean my scene. I'm gonna create a new map, new level, I should say. Could be a blank one, it doesn't matter. As the sky. I'll save it, save current as, in week 6. Week 6 cameras. I don't need this guy, so I'm just gonna hide him. And I'll bring in I'll start exporting stuff from my, so first up is the environment. I believe it's this one. Export selection, FBX. I don't need animation for now. Desktop. Oops, no, not desktop anymore. Bad idea. I don't know why I wasn't careful with this. I'll create an environment because I believe I didn't export it last time. Environment. I'll call this guy cubes. It's fine. Geometry. And if we go in here, I'll create a new folder. Cubes. And I'm actually importing this way because I don't want to take a chance of moving the level, so I'll just do it like this. So my assets, environment, cubes, and I'll put it in here. Everything by default. And there we go. Oops. Okay, so that's our environment. I already have the ninja, so I can just drop him in. But what I need, always put him to 0, 0. Because when you drag and drop, you could be dropping anywhere in the scene. Just make sure you put him in the zeros, otherwise you're going to have an offset on the animation, right? Okay. Now I can export my ninja animation. So export these guys. I think I am just going to try something. And by selecting just the... Oh no, I don't have the root. Okay, it must have been an older... Do I have the root here? Yes, okay, so that might be okay. Let's try it. Okay. Export selection, FBX, anims, call it week 6 cameras. Now we need the animation and baked bake animation, yeah, should be good. I hope it's gonna work. Please. So let's see if we import now the animation, and it's week 6 and Ninja import. Oh no, here's my foot. Oh no, contains root point, that's why. Okay, I think we can save this by, let's try to hack it. Let's see if it's gonna work. I'm not sure it's gonna work, but we'll try it. So if I control G, I'm gonna save the scene first. And I'll just name this root. I'll apply the namespace just for fun. It doesn't really matter, but just to be consistent. Namespace, mixamo rig, add. Alright, please work. So that should be at 0, 0. Yeah. Okay. Export. Selection. Number 6. Alright. There goes nothing. Select the skeleton. Import. Well, look at that. That might be a cool trick. Nice. I'll go through this next week more, because this way we can bypass. We don't need to create a joint for the Mixamo characters. That's good. We learned something today. Okay, so what's left are the cameras. So let's export the cameras. Which is the Uber cam. I'm gonna name this to master cam because Uber cam is a little weird. I'll make sure everything is there. Yeah. Oh, weird. So it has a little offset. Oh, wow. Oh, maybe because we adjusted the timing. That's why. That's okay. Doesn't matter. Export selection. So I know I named this cameras cam. Let's go with cam. That's okay. We're running a little bit short on time. So we can't really import the cam, but we're gonna import it in the sequencer. Okay, so I'll show you how to do that in a bit. So cinematic, actually we don't need to go to cinematic, sorry, because there's different ways of adding the camera. So we'll create a new sequence, add level sequence. In sequencers, call it week 6. Cameras. All right, first thing we can add is, let's add the character. So select the ninja, track, actor sequence. Always when you select it, it will be on the top. So this is our ninja with the animation. You want to import the animation, just select the animation track, import, and it should be this one. So now what do we have? Why is he not playing? it's probably because my time segment ends there. So we'll just need to move the end frame to 475. Oops. Right, 475. I think it should snap. Four 75. Okay, and 0. Okay. And now we can create our camera shot. So to import the camera from Maya, we need to name the camera. Is it this one? Hold on. I just want to see which one is the... Okay, so this one, Sin Camera Actor. We need to name this one the same name as the cam we did in the Uber cam, which is the master cam. Okay, it has to be the same name, otherwise we can't import the animation for some reason. Okay, take a look at this setting here. We'll see, I think it's going to update once we bring it in. I'm just going to take a small screenshot. Because it doesn't import all the settings. It imports position rotation, obviously, and some of the some of the lenses, not every, like they're just probably just the focal length, which is the film back. Anyways, let's take a look. So able to import the animation, you select the cam. You go on this little wrench icon, import. We go to anims, and probably cameras, cam. There we go. Check off everything except the first one. So that's why we needed to name it, because if there's no match of the name, it doesn't import it. There we go. So now, see the film back, it does change it. Okay, that's fine. 23 sensor, it does import some settings, so which I'm surprised, but not everything. So let's see, is it this one? Either this one or this, so you can see what it's looking at. I just want to see if this is the same framing as in Maya. Okay, so let's go to frame 81. Okay, and just put this side by side, and it's a little different, see? So the focal length imported is not the same. We need to match what we see in Maya closer and Unreal. Okay, let me save my scene before. So now if we select the camera and we chose the film back, if we choose 16:9 film, this is the one you need. So see here, I don't know why I don't see the focal. Weird. Oh, it's right there. Focal length 35. So that's the good one. So now if we look at the Maya screenshot, see in terms of spacing, now it matches. See, you see a little bit of, it's not one-to-one exactly, because the edges in Unreal, the film back is a little bit different. But look, in terms of, yeah, I think I chose the wrong frame, but it's okay, you get the idea. So if I go in Maya and go to 81, yeah, 81. That's even better because it's going to match perfectly now. Okay, now we go back in Unreal. And it's really close, okay? Excuse me. All right, so let's check. So now that we have the focal length matching to what the Maya scene is, you could see that everything is as is, right? So I'm gonna save this. I'm gonna render it as is for a reason to show you the comparison after what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna change a couple of settings inside the camera, and you will see the difference right away. Okay. Let me see if we can increase the lighting maybe a little bit too, because it's a little bit dark. Why not just add a directional light, or yeah, maybe a directional light. So it creates a little bit of it's a little bit lighter. Okay, so let's render this out as is. I'll keep it at 30 to show you the difference, and we'll just change the path to Unreal. Let's call this folder renders so we can easily find them. All right, select, and week 6, my name, cameras, and let's render save. Yeah. So this is the default camera settings, okay? I'm not changing anything. You can see all the blur. Okay. And I think we rendered the box as well, so we can get rid of that right after. But I won't render it again, because what you're gonna see the difference is with the motion blur and the depth of field. Okay. All right, so we call this cameras, you know what, I'll put 30 FPS default, 30 FPS. So now what I want to do is I want to show you guys motion blur. Okay, so if you select the cam and you go in the details and you type motion blur, by default it doesn't animate. Okay, it doesn't actually, sorry, it doesn't animate, it doesn't show. So we need to actually activate it and keep it at 0.5. It's fine. The second thing is depth of field, okay? So in here, you see here, aperture. So this is how you animate depth of field, okay? So by default, it's 2.8. So if I increase it or decrease it, if I increase it, it's blurring the background more. I don't know if you can see it. You're probably going to see it more on the close-up shot. So let's go to the last shot. Here. So see here, it's blurring the foreground. So if I increase it or decrease it, it's going to blur more. So see, if you want to animate this, you can animate this by clicking on the keys, okay? So let's put it back to default, go back to the first frame. Let's say I want to animate this at, let's keep it at, hold on. Let's keep it at default, let's say 7, and see what happens on the next few shots. This is fine. And then here, it's still blurry. I want it a little bit crispier, okay? So what do? I keyframe it on this shot, and then on the next shot, actually I'll move this key to here, so that on the next shot I increase it to get a crisper you can see the face better. It actually auto keys by itself, which is good. So let's see what that looks like. Okay. So you can animate this going from whatever number to whatever number. The second thing I want to show you is you can animate after you've imported the cam, you can actually animate the focal length, okay? So usually it's better when for the close-ups, it's better to have a bigger focal length to get more intimate with the character. So let's say on these 2 frames, let's say you're happy with this focal length, but on the next frame, you want to get up close and personal, okay? So you can actually animate this after you've imported it. It's a little bit too much, but you get the idea. This is where you can animate the focal length. You don't have to stick to 35 for close-ups, okay? I believe you can animate this in Maya, but you could try. And then the last thing, we can start rendering the new one, and we're going to change the FPS to 24, and you're going to see the difference now. So we'll call this cameras 24 FPS. Okay, sorry, 24. I forgot to delete the box again. Doesn't matter. What we're showing is the depth of field and the new motion blur. So I'll delete it on the next one. I might have to fix a couple of things, so I'll delete it right after. So let me delete it now before I forget. Let's go. So let's load it up. There's one small issue that I want you guys to look at. So if we go frame by frame, so see between the shots there's a bit of there's a big motion blur happening. Okay, I don't know if you notice it. See here, the problem is when the camera transitions to another shot, another scene, because it's abrupt movement from one position to the next, it adds motion blur to everything in this scene. So the way to counter this is we need to animate the amount of motion blur. The way to do this is we go back to motion blur, and if you look at the there's beside the amount there's a little keyframe. So by default it's not keyable in the sequencer, but if you click on this guy, this little icon, then you will see the amount pop in. Okay, so now what we can do is it adds a key by default for some reason. I'm not sure why. It's probably in the settings, auto key is on or something like that. I need to find it. So now we can keyframe the motion blur between the shots. Okay, so what are we going to do? We're going to go to where the transition happens, right, which is here. So we're going to create a key here. Oh, okay, hold on a second. So 0.5. Create a key, and then go to the next one. 196, 197. So we want it this shot to be 0. Okay, so put it to 0, and then on the next one we bring it back to 0.5. So this way when the camera transitions from this shot to this shot, there's no motion blur, but it goes back up to 0.5. Okay, so we'll do the same with the last cut. Which is here, key. Put a key here too, and then go back one key and just put it to 0. Okay, let's render this. Save, render, capture. There might be still a problem. I think I know why, because we animated at 30 and now we're rendering at 24, so there might be some issues there. Let's open up in keyframe. Yeah, there might be. Okay, so it's better to animate in Maya with not sure why it's moving like this. There's like actual movement on the camera. I don't know why. Anyways, I'll look into it and I'll fix it next week. It's fine if you have that artifact as well in your scene. It's fine. I'm gonna look into it. It might be because we animated in Maya 30 and then we rendered. Actually, I'm gonna try a quick test. I'm gonna render in 30 and see if that problem goes away. Yeah, see, we don't have that problem anymore. Problem solved. So, okay, we'll go through it next week. We'll make sure you guys are working with 24 FPS. I just want to show you the difference. So let's say in here, in this pose, I'm just going to take a screenshot and show you the difference. Why? Size original. Okay. I want to show you the difference between this motion blur on this and the original one, the default settings, basically. Yeah, it's pretty much it's pretty much the same. You could see it a little bit better. There's too much here. With the default, you lose a lot of. There's a slight difference. There's a slight difference, but if you ask anybody in film, they usually render at 24 FPS, and the motion blur is way better. And it's more realistic. I guess in motion it's a bit different. So, but still, images might be the same. Okay, that's it for today. I'll upload this and can continue next week. Thank you.